on Two Limes and a Lemon, we start our Isn't It Romantic series in honor of Valentine's Day. We've got a full array of love stories planned, starting with a cautionary tale of passion and infidelity gone awry. So lock up your bunnies, because this episode will not be ignored, as we discuss 1987's Fatal Attraction.
Are we having theme music? Like, how do we... Is it just start with us talking?
Yeah, Dave's gonna do us some, like, a jingle, I think.
Dave.
Nah.
Danielle.
Two limes and a lemon.
Hi, so welcome to this week's Two Limes and a Lemon podcast. I'm Danielle, your host for this week. Joined with me, as always, are my two friends, Nat and Dave. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hello, how's it going, everyone?
So this week we're doing Fatal Attraction, but before we get into today's feature, let's go around and see what everybody's been consuming this week. This can be movie, book, any kind of thing that is consuming your life right now. Let's go with Dave, because we all know what he's been consuming, or is consuming him.
Yeah, so recently I've got two lovely little guinea pigs. It's been a while trying to think how to name them.
They've already
It
had
was
like
going to
three
be left.
iterations.
Yeah, it was going to be left and right. Then it was funny for me for like a week, and then I was like, nah, it's not like a name that you can stay forever with. Then it was like Frodo and Sam. And then I was like, nah, that's too late. Oh, he likes Lord of the Rings. And it's like, that's not my personality anymore. I was looking at a photo of the picture I was going to send someone of one of the guinea pigs. And then Wilton just popped in my head. And I was like, okay, that's sold. I'm going with that.
Where did Wilton, the name, come from, though? Like, the only thing I know of Wilton is a cake decorating company.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
Apparently it is a name, but beforehand I was like, that's not a name.
Yeah, you're like, you mean Wilson or something? I was like, no, Wilton. I don't know. It just something just like it's when I make video game characters, I sort of look at letters and go, ooh, that one, and then a name comes up. And then I was thinking like, the other one needs a fancy name, like a gentleman name as well. And then Cecil just came.
Well, he was Mervyn first, or Marvin or something for a bit.
It was Melvin for a bit. I was like, nah, it's too sad. Hello, Melvin. Yeah, I was like, nah, it needs like a younger name. So Cecil just came in.
You just got these guinea pigs yesterday, and you've been tortured by names.
Yeah, oh yeah. 24 hours, yeah.
But the left-right saga was pre-guinea pig ownership, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's correct, yeah. I was sitting there going, oh, left and right, that'll be funny. And then I was like, yeah, it was funny for a moment. Then I was like, nah, I'm not that guy. I'm going to come up with real guinea pig names. I got them out of the cage today, and I was sitting there petting them, and Cecil kind of just like nosed under Wilton and like pushed him up, and then like Wilton was just like sitting on top of him like, I don't know what to do, because when Wilton's out of the cage he's a bit shy. So he was kind of like, I just have to sit like this now until I go back in the cage. We'll talk about this later. Yeah, I already can see some personality in them, so it's quite funny. I can't wait. They're only 8 weeks old as well, so should we put a picture of them in the
We can.
Instagram, or maybe they can be our sponsors. They can sponsor whoever when we get to the point of sponsorship. When we get sponsored, yeah. No, I mean, like, when we get sponsorship, the guinea pigs can be
right, the mascot.
And birds.
We can have a vote whose pets are the cutest, yeah. I think all of our pets are equally adorable.
Oh, we've all got two now as well.
Yeah. Don't listen to what I said, Andy. You're the cutest of all.
I do like Andy, though. Andy is cute. Yeah, that's what I've been consumed by. Names and guinea pigs.
Natalie, what have you been consuming this week?
So I'm a bit late to the Oscars bit, because I know that last year you watched this as part of your Oscar watch, but I watched The Substance.
Oh yeah,
this week. Didn't really know much about it other than obviously it was about an aging like Hollywood star sort of thing. I enjoyed it. It was a bit long for me. Like, even I am like the person that loves a long movie, but about an hour and a half in, I was a bit like, oh, I'm kind of bored of it now. And I still had an hour to go pretty much. But it was a very good take on aging and like Hollywood and stars being replaced by their like younger model, I suppose. The bit I didn't like was the end where there's like the monster version.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that bit wasn't really needed. I was happy to just have it as like the Demi Moore character when she turns into like the wizened up old lady. Like I felt like that was kind of grotesque enough that you didn't then need the monster element.
Yeah. And I thought her
Like I would have
I thought her struggle
Sorry.
was more interesting in that, you know, her kind of going through it than what the young hot version was.
Yeah, exactly. But also the bit I don't understand, right, is they obviously take a substance and she becomes like she births obviously like a younger version of herself out of her back. But they don't really share a consciousness. So I'm like, what's the perk in doing it? I thought it was going to be like, oh, she can
Like
enjoy
yeah.
being the younger version of herself for the week that she gets to be the younger version. But it seems like she just goes into like a stasis and then picks back off when the other one switches over. So I don't really understand what the perk is. I enjoyed the movie, but I had a lot of questions afterwards.
I'm curious for you guys to check out The Beauty. It's a new Ryan Murphy show, and it's got pretty much the same premise, except it's a sexually transmitted disease, or transmitted by blood in fluids disease. I think the way they cover, like it's very Ryan Murphy of it all. Like it's all a little trashy. The way they explain the things that you're having issues with, I think, make more sense on this show.
I'd have been happy for like the old lady to turn up at the New Year's party at the end rather than the monster. It was very well done, don't get me wrong. Like the styling of it was great. The like prosthetics and the like body horror, great. But yeah, there was just a few little bits of the story that I was like, I don't really get why anyone would want to do this process. Like if you were getting to enjoy the younger version, then sure. But if you're not and you're just going into like a little stasis and like a coma basically while it's all going on, and also the fact that you know that the person might not change you back and then you're going to come out with like a wrinkled leg or finger or whatever. I don't see what the perks are.
I guess it's all about like her warped sense of self and whatnot, because like you said, when the younger version starts taking more of the time, the older version could completely stop doing it, but she can't. Like she's addicted to it.
What have you been doing, Danielle?
Well, I would like to say,
before you tell us, Danielle,
guinea pig thing.
I just want to. You can cut this. Sorry, you can cut this out. But I've just looked at like the jumping thing that guinea pigs do. Is called popcorning, because they just randomly pop and just jump.
Yeah.
And it's really cute. I like it. Carry on.
What have I been doing this week? Thanks for asking, Natalie. I'd like to say that I was sticking with my watching all the Oscar movies, but I did 9 movies the week before, and I only watched 1 this week, and I'm highly disappointed in myself.
Slacking.
And so, yeah, I know. So instead, I wanted to tell you about something food-wise I consumed, and that is yesterday. After the 3 of us were playing some video games, and after we finished, I decided I was going to make some focaccia. I've been wanting bread, like fresh bread, for a while. And so I made this bread, and it was like the perfect looking thing of focaccia. And it rose so beautifully, and because it did, and it dimpled all nice, I usually don't add the extra oil to it because who needs that? But I was like, this is going to be the most perfect focaccia in the world. I drizzled olive oil, put flaky sea salt on top, put it in to cook, brought it out, golden brown, bubbling up with the oil, cut into it. I had forgot to put salt in the recipe. It tasted like absolutely nothing. It was the most prank bread I have ever had. It was worse than if it had tasted bad, because it was the texture of beautiful bread. It was, chewy and light and fluffy, and it just tasted like air. It was so sad.
Could you not put like a salted butter on it to try and counter it?
I have been trying, which has meant that I've eaten way more of this focaccia than I should have in a day to try and get it to be nice. I added butter on it, then I added butter and salt, and then I had this tomato and chili chutney that I added on today. And when I was eating the tomato and chili part, delicious. And then your tongue would hit the airy nothingness, and it was like, oh.
Because you'd think that the crust part would at least have a taste,
Yeah.
even if it didn't taste in the actual dough itself.
It wasn't enough. And the whole recipe only has 2 teaspoons of salt in it. It's not that much. So go salt doing the hard work in bread. So with that, let's get on to today's feature, which is 1987's Fatal Attraction. Let me give a quick summary first. This is a story of Dan Gallagher, who is some sort of lawyer. He has a chance encounter with Alex Forrest, who is an editor at a book publisher that his firm works with, which leads to a passionate weekend affair. Although they roughly establish that this is a no-strings-attached situation, as is often the case, someone falls in a little too deep, which is further amplified by Alex's severe mental health struggles and Dan's mixed signals mixed with his attempt to silence Alex without disturbing his domestic life. Alex's obsession escalates as she progresses from incessant calling to kidnapping his daughter to bunny boiling and then attempted murder. But ultimately, it is Beth, played by Ann Archer, Dan's beleaguered wife, who finally ends this taut erotic thriller with a single shot to the head in the least sexy, steamy bath scene ever. So... Oh, and I forgot to mention, Dan Gallagher is played by Michael Douglas.
Peak Michael Douglas.
Late 80s, 90s, he was the lead in all of these like erotic thrillers, and then matched with Michael Douglas is Glenn Close. I was a kid when it came out. It's been part of the culture that I've known about. There's a couple like the bunny boiling and the end scene are very iconic. I chose this. We were talking about doing Valentine's films. I chose this. Well, originally I chose 2 other films, and Natalie and Dave had no reaction to them. And I was like, oh, I'm a little bummed about that. Nobody cares about the ones I picked. So jokingly, last week I said, oh, we could do Fatal Attraction. That's one I watch on Valentine's Day. And again, no reaction. So I was like, oh, they don't know Fatal Attraction. So that's why I decided to pick it. The reason why I think I did watch this one Valentine's Day is because there's a scene in Bridget Jones after she finds Daniel Cleaver with his American girlfriend, and she's like drunkenly watching Fatal Attraction because she's so jaded by love. And so I wanted to see, have either of you ever watched this? Were you aware of this film and sort of some of the scenes in it?
Aware of the film. I knew it was where Bunny Boiler comes from. Knew who the cast was, but have never seen the actual movie. I've seen clips of it, but never as like a full piece.
Dave?
No, I've never heard of it. So it was brand new. And then when it started, it was like sort of the slow kind of tracking shot of the city. And when we clicked how long it was like 2 hours. I was like, oh, why have we put? And it's going to be some love blur. I had no idea what it was about coming through. And then when they started having their like going off and having an affair, I was like, oh, it's going to be one of these films. And then I was like, hold on. Nat, why is it called Fatal? Is someone going to get killed? What's the fatal part? And then you were like, just have to wait and see. And I was like, oh. And then it was one of those movies where it's just shut up and watch it and you'll enjoy it. And then I shut up and just watched it and really got into it. And I really liked it. The ending was like,
I do feel like if he'd have watched it on his own though, I don't think you would have probably enjoyed it as much, because we were just like shouting at him all the time, like the character of Dan. We were just like, oh, you're such an idiot, like you've got a really nice wife and all this stuff, and then like his wife is like gorgeous, and no offense to like Glenn Close, but I just feel like that character, I wouldn't have ditched his wife for that character.
Well, there's some very sexy scenes of Ann Archer in the beginning, like when they're getting ready for that party and she's just kind of in a t-shirt.
Yeah.
But
she's a bit of a bombshell.
I would argue that Dan seems like mildly checked out of his relationship with her and kind of bored. Although, you know, they have this nice little domestic life, they've gotten to this stage where the daughter is climbing into bed at night.
the love life's gone, yeah.
Alex and Dan meet at this party for like a Japanese self-help book. It's like called Samurai Self-Help or something like that. It's in Japanese.
That's
restaurant.
right, yeah.
Super goofy. But they meet at this party, and there's like an instant connection between Dan and Alex at the bar. And it made me wonder. I think he does this on a regular basis. I don't think he's a faithful husband.
I thought it was just a flirtation. I didn't think it was. I thought it was just like him eyeing up something. I didn't read any more to it in like it's a regular occurrence for them both.
Due to some like weekend work and some rain, Dan and Alex end up in a bar together, and they start sort of like establishing out the parameters, like feeling each other out if it's going to happen. And it like maybe he hasn't done it before, but he's like pushed the line before, I think. And he's finally met a woman who is like, no, we're both adults,
no strings
here.
Attached,
we can do
sort
like
of thing. Yeah.
We're both clearly into this right now. Let's just do it. And then they launch into this very much of the time affair where it's just like in the elevator, on the sink.
Oh, yeah.
That water, though.
Yeah. Yeah, but that scene was weird. We were laughing. I mean, it's like, we've watched so many of them now. They're no longer awkward. But it was a bit like, what are they doing with the water?
He's like cupping it and they're feeding it into her mouth, and she's like, ah, and I was like, are they waterboarding each other? What's going on here? Yeah, it was pretty weird. But
also, there's like the elevator gets like stuck, and then you see like some people's feet walk past. That was weird.
She lives in like a loft in the city, and there's like this industrial.
Apparently, it's like
elevator.
the height of the Eiffel Tower. Because it's going on forever. This elevator. Do you know what the worst part is? That they went out with the dog. They roped the dog into it, so now the dog is a liar.
Well, that's where I think the line gets crossed, because I think that first night is very much the no strings attached, steamy love affair. The second day is very, very romantic.
Yeah, they go out in the daylight. I'm like, so you're just like, you could get seen by anybody. Yeah, they're like rolling around at the picnic. They get the dog, so he's obviously gone back to his apartment with her at some point and got the dog. Yeah. Then he brings the dog back to her apartment, and I'm just like, oh, it's just like, that's the bit where I'm like, well, now he's completely unlikable because you are clearly like so blatant about it that you don't even care if you get caught.
Well, and she makes like a romantic dinner for him, and there's this whole scene with them listening to Madame Butterfly, which the story sort of parallels what's happening in the movie. Madame Butterfly is the story of a American GI in Japan, I think, who has a romance with this Japanese woman, gets her pregnant, but then leaves her, and then she ends up committing suicide in the end.
So it is like almost like a modern retelling of Madame Butterfly then.
Yeah, and then there's this interesting moment where after they've had this very romantic day, he tries to, go back to his family again, and she slices her wrists to get him to stay.
To stop him to go, yeah.
At that stage, you call somebody, because like clearly it's not that she's just a little bit over attached. Dan's wife comes back into the picture, and then we get this escalating series of Alex sort of terrorizing his life, starting off with him calling and hanging up and going to his office. And I think at any point he could have done a bit more than he does. I think he's always trying to preserve his own image and keep his family separated from it. But I think the way he goes about it, he just digs himself further in. Like, it's clear.
Speaking of his family, at what point did you realise that his child was not was a girl? Because me and Dave, it took us a long while to realise.
They make some choices with like the child's haircut and clothing.
Like, that is such a boyish haircut. And also, like, I mean, I get like she's a tomboy character maybe because they dress her obviously in very like tomboy sort of clothes, but literally it was a long while into it when we were like, is that a girl? He's like, my daughter's gone missing or whatever. We're like, he has a daughter? And she has a really nice picture on the wall in her bedroom that Dave would like to tell you about.
Oh, something I didn't notice.
Oh, yeah. She was, the face, so she's done the kid's drawing and it's stuck on the wall, right? And it's got this like sort of, I don't know, it's the kid's bed and you got this sort of picture next to it of this creepy kind of smiley face, and it keeps like taking most of the frame. It's almost like a horror film in itself.
Yeah, it is pretty terrifying. I don't know how you missed it.
It's the teeth.
What scene did we see this in? Was it when they were in the apartment or when they moved out to the country?
When they moved out to the
Moved out.
country.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it was like
So there's like
creepy.
it's like a
picture
full body
on
of
the
this like girl right next to the bed, and it's her dress is like the same pattern as the wallpaper, but then it's like she's got these like arms outstretched with this like terrifying grin. It was actually terrifying.
maybe we need a movie about
Yeah.
Ellen, the kid, like the orphan style film. Maybe she was orchestrating it the whole time. She boiled the bunny.
Maybe.
I had a note to myself of like I have a little note of discussion points I wanted to get to, and mine was did anyone else find Ellen annoying? And I felt terrible for finding the poor little kid annoying.
Yes, because she's not young enough to go with a random woman from school.
True. Very true. Although
Like she
Yeah,
should
that was a
straight
bit
away
weird,
said to
wasn't
her
it?
teachers, I don't know who this person is. She's like we've known this kid to be like, I want a bunny, and having like an eloquent conversation with people. So there's no way that she is young enough to just go off with a stranger.
But back to the relationship. We talked so much about this kid.
Dave also asked me to write down about the reason that Glenn Close was sexy is because she has a cigarette.
Yeah, the cigarettes equal sexiness because there's a lot of smoking from.
Well, it's the 80s and 90s.
I think it's trying to be like the opposites. It's kind of like lovely wife with child at home who's just like we're building a family together, and then you've got Glenn Close with a cigarette. I've got no problems at all apart from being sexy and just having a good time.
Lung cancer can't touch
Surprise, I'm a psycho. Are they trying to paint her out to be this cool?
It's like a sensuality,
Like,
to
yeah,
it, isn't it?
stand,
Because it's
yeah.
all bringing focus to like her lips and how she's holding it, and I feel like they do that a lot with like femme fatale kind
Yes.
of characters.
I think that's very true. And I would argue too, like she's got this wild curly hair, and I think that's oftentimes one of these like differentiations. You got kind of the sleek wife and the
Like
wild
put
and
together,
crazy.
sort of like structured. Yeah.
But in this case, nobody used conditioner properly in this film. Everybody, if water hit their hair, it was like complete frizz job. If anything, Michael Douglas had the most put together hair. He had this very like 80s man mullet thing going on. Also, like, if Glenn Close is sexy because of hair and cigarette, what makes Michael Douglas sexy in this? I just couldn't, like, watching it, I was like, this is what we considered sexy back then? This was the guy that we put in?
I didn't find
this
him sexy at all in this. What struck me was just how devious he was. Like,
Oh, yeah.
having an affair is one thing, but to them, like, he's going around like his house, making the bed like it's been slept in, and then like feeding the pasta to the dog that his wife had left for him. So it's like, oh, I have eaten it and stuff. So I was like, I mean, Mia, maybe you're right in that he has done it before, and so he's got like well versed in what he needs to do. But I was just like, it's not just a simple case of he's like gone and done the dirty. He's now like constructing like a whole lie around that.
Well, him feeding that dog that bolognese pasta, I thought he would be like well suited if he came home and the dog had diarrhea all over the place, because that's too spicy for a poor little dog's stomach. Also, did the wife come home and not wonder, oh, there's the leftover with the dish lying on the floor?
Yeah, on the floor. Yeah.
He really crosses the line where he like breaks into her apartment and starts digging around at,
To find evidence.
yes, for some sort of evidence, which I guess they don't show. The reason I forgot is they don't show us talking to the doctor. But he finds there's a point during the romantic picnic day where he pretends to, like, she throws something at him and he falls over and pretends not to wake up. And then she gets really worried. And he was like, no, I'm just joking. And she says, oh, my father died of a surprise heart attack. Don't do that. And then he gets upset. And then she lies and says, oh, no, that was just a lie. And so he finds evidence that she lied, that her father did die. But I thought that, like, of all the things, like, I could understand where Alex was coming from doing that, because it's this guy she likes, and she's like shared a little too much with him, and he's like,
Yeah, and he looks like horrified by it. Yeah.
So like that wasn't
No, I get that.
that wasn't the one thing that I would be like, she's insane. I have to keep her from my family because she's lied about her dad dying. While I
No,
figured
what
this
is
out breaking into
insane?
her house.
What is insane, and I'm leading Dave up to this, is a certain thing that Michael Douglas has on his desk at work.
Is it the arrangement of pencils?
Yeah, I've got a note saying Dave wants to talk about how many
Yeah.
pencils he's got.
Yeah. So he had, I don't know, he had so many, didn't he? He had like a whole
He did have a massive
bowl
amount of
full of
pencils on
pencil.
his man's desk.
Yeah. I was like, what's he drawing?
As well as like hundreds of family photos around his office.
That I thought-
I get having like a picture of your family on your desk. That's fair enough. But it was really hammering it home. Like he has a family like everywhere.
Because he starts like ignoring her calls and telling his secretary to stop and like telling him she's even there. He comes to the office and it was almost like he had put all the extra photos up to like point out, no, I'm
Yeah.
a family man. None of you anymore. She wrecks his car. She like throws acid on the car. Like it's
Yeah.
so devious.
And then he's like, oh, it's an electrical problem. Like anyone that
But she
believes him.
She leaves like an audio tape on his car that like clearly is the entirety of this like hour-long audio cassette tape.
Yes.
Of her just like ranting at him. And he just like continues to listen to it. And then he takes it into
All
his
the way
house.
home. Yeah, but also he leaves in the daylight, and then by the time he gets to his house, it's like night time. So I was like, he's been listening to this literally for hours. And can you imagine him getting to like the end of side A and then like turning it over and be like, oh, what's she gonna say on side B?
But then, I mean, that is clearly a point where you could go, I have physical evidence that she is
Yeah.
obsessed and starting to harass me that you can take to the police. But he is so, like, he pushes it so far, basically to the point where his daughter gets kidnapped by her. And then Beth is, like, searching frantically for her daughter and gets in a car accident. And
Yeah.
so that's the point where he finally has to, you know, say something.
And obviously the bunny is another consequence.
The whole okay, so the bunny is I think the most iconic part. It has led to the coining of the term bunny boiler. If a woman
Yep.
is like a little bit crazy, and do we use that for men? We should as well. Could be either sex. It's a little
We
bit
should, but
overly
yes, we
obsessed.
don't.
Apparently, they got the bunny from a butcher, so it was a real bunny in the boiling water. And the physical reaction that Anne Archer makes is because it smelled from boiling this carcass. My problem is
That's grim.
bunny is boiled, and then they stay in the house. They don't really do much of anything. Did you call the cops? Not yet. Like,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
very unwise.
They didn't really want the bunny to begin with, so
No.
actually Glenn Close did him a favour. They were like trying to not get the bunny.
They bought the worst bunny too. Like it looked like a lab bunny because it was one of those like albino with the red eyes. It wasn't like a cute little
Yeah,
brown or
I don't
gray
like the
bunny.
red eye ones.
No.
They look creepy.
And I thought it was weird that he bought the bunny
We had
in the.
one of those as a kid.
Did you?
Yeah, it was called Flour
Oh.
because of like a bag of flour. Not because of it.
Not because he's pretty like a flower. That's
No.
But he buys it in the city. That also seemed weird to me. Like, wouldn't there be? They're living in the country. Wouldn't there be like somewhere you could buy a rabbit? That
Well,
isn't
because
in
also
your
that's the
city?
day that his car gets like
Yeah.
acid all over it, and then he puts
Yeah,
the
it's
bunny
like-
down
it's
right
like
next to
this.
it, and I'm like, get the rabbit away from all this like burning metal, please.
That bunny lived a real scary life, I tell you.
Yeah.
Little hutch out. They didn't even let the bunny live in the house. It had like an outdoor hut.
No, they put it right down the end of the garden, like
Yeah,
away
you
from
could easily,
anywhere.
yeah.
A little city bunny
If Glenn
too.
Close hadn't got it, the foxes would have got it.
True, very true. But I think there's this like fake out ending where he goes to her apartment. She has a knife, and then he gets the knife and he puts it down and leaves and just like take care of yourself. And then everybody, I guess, drives like an hour and a half out of the city back to his country place to have the final showdown. She comes in and she does this super creepy thing where she's standing there with the dress, and Beth is in the bathroom, and she's like tapping the knife against her leg, and slowly
Yeah,
she
it's
starts.
like catching on the fabric.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then he comes in, strangles her under the water. There's an incredibly creepy scene where her eyes are like rolled back into her head underwater. Fake out death. She jumps out of the water, and then we get the poor wife gets the final moment and shoots her. But interesting fact is that wasn't the original ending. The original ending The original ending was Alex commits suicide, but makes it look like he did it, and he gets arrested in the end. But it tested badly. So
I think that's a better ending.
I do too. The director wanted the original
because
ending.
then he gets punished for doing it.
The director and all the women wanted that as the original ending, but the studio pushed for it, and Michael Douglas was like, yeah, let's do this other ending, because it makes him look like a bit of a hero. Like, it kind of, he doesn't really get punished.
Yeah, redeems his
end.
Character, but he should get punished.
Agreed. And where I think they've tried to fix this is in 2023, there was a Paramount Plus TV show called Fatal Attraction, where they redid the story, but you learn soon on that the Alex character does die. And so the TV show is done with several timelines, where you've got the affair and her obsession, and then she is found dead, and then he gets arrested, and it's like him when the daughter is a teenager or young adult trying to figure out what actually happened to Alex. Did she kill herself? Was there somebody else involved? I want to say I watched it. I thought it was good. I do not remember how it ended. So I might have to go back and watch it at some point. It had Pacey from Dawson's Creek in it.
Is that Joshua Jackson?
Yeah.
I like him. Yeah.
How did people like the ending?
I didn't like the ending.
Why?
Because, I feel like it was too much like they villainized Glenn Close, but I feel like they were both the villains, so I didn't like the way they wrapped it all up in, a neat little bow, she's dead now, so she's out of the story. But the thing was, if we're going by what she said in the gynecologist, she was a pregnant woman that they've, killed. Michael Douglas didn't get any comeuppance. His wife obviously forgave him, I would assume. They were leaning towards that it happened. I just felt like it was all put down to, it was Glenn Close's character that was crazy, whereas there was other issues that were going on.
I liked that they gave the wife, I liked that she was the one that did the killing, the shooting at the end.
Yeah.
I did like that compromise, but I agree with you completely. And, I would be led to believe that they did go back to whatever their life was, because we end the film with the credits just over this close up on a family portrait sitting on their bookcase. Dave, what did you think?
I think it was a bit of a predictable ending, because you'd think, well, she has to die, but it's just who's going to do it. So I think that was the bit that was a bit predictable. They did it in a way where someone could probably go, oh yeah, okay, it's all sorted now. But I reckon in a realistic world, you could have made it a bit more, I don't know, they're both the bad guy.
Or just don't have them get back together at the end.
Yeah.
You have to have some consequence.
Yeah.
Show the scene of him with a bag leaving after, happy ending, and he's
something like that.
But I do that learning what the original ending was. I kind of like that. I mean, I think with something like this, where it's such a amped up drama thriller kind of thing, you needed some sort of big climax to it. You needed some big fight at the end. They couldn't just be like, oh yeah, I realize I don't need you.
More dialogue. If they spoke it out, it would have been nice if they chatted it out. It was such a talking film. I think that big fight scene at the end, I think if they just had a conversation, maybe she tied the wife up and had the knife against her and was like, we need to talk, and then they could have had the whole
reasonable and it was just
conversation.
although I'm not going to get with you, I'll still be there, I'll still support you, the child or whatever. He didn't even try and do any of that.
No, he immediately had her underwater, throttling the lights out.
Dunkin' Donuts,
I also thought about what kind of damage they would have to pay for the water that was leaking into the floor below.
No, I have a question about that. The wife was getting a bath, but there's a scene where the water is dripping through the ceiling and the dog notices it, and then they have a shot of Michael Douglas looking at the dog, looking at the water, but he still doesn't go upstairs. So is he just she's overflowed the bath again, but not bothered to go upstairs? He definitely notices that the water is dripping. Yeah, before he's then the kettle's whistling over my wife screaming. Even if he couldn't hear her, the daughter would have been able to hear her. But she's too busy fighting off the weird woman that lives on her wall.
He likes having the family because that's what is a sign of success during that time. But he doesn't seem at all really invested. So maybe there being water on the floor is somebody else's problem, and he's not even.
Yeah,
Doesn't
he's
even
like, oh, she'll
register.
clean that up later. I know she's been hit by a car and she's like got a cast on and stuff, but she'll sort that out.
In the end, who do you think was the victim here? Was there one?
The
Michael
victim,
Douglas.
Beth.
Agree. I agree with you.
The rabbit. Just the rabbit.
Just the rabbit.
The only thing the film did wrong for me was the fact that they're making Dan look like a hero at the end when he's just
And
as
I think
bad.
the recut ending definitely does that. I think making some ambiguity and giving him some comeuppance makes it a little bit more like they're each, getting punished for these wrong decisions.
I think it's like an ending of its time, though, isn't
Yes,
it? Like
agreed.
when you had these big names in the 80s and 90s, they wanted those stars to look like heroes. Whereas now I think that it's very much like whether or not they have a happy ending or not, people will still be like, oh, I enjoyed that. Whereas I feel like back then they were like, oh, well, if you make the star be like a villain, then it's not going to sell, sort of thing.
It's a bit like Gone Girl. Except for Gone Girl's
A bit like
bad.
what?
Gone Girl.
Gone Girl. Oh, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, because that's another one where it's terrible people.
Yeah. Terrible people to film.
So with that, let's get to our favorite and least favorite characters. Do you want to start off, Dave?
Yeah. I liked the rabbit and disliked I don't know really.
There was nobody you just seen?
Obviously I'd say no, I didn't really dislike anyone. Everyone was just kind of really good.
Nat?
Favourite character was Beth, because she didn't do anything wrong. Worst character was Dan, because he didn't get any comeuppance for what had happened.
I think I do. I like the craziness of Alex. I think she's a good. They make her into a monster. She's like a good,
She's like a good Joffrey.
Yeah, like she's good in this role. But if I were to pick like a non-main character, I like Jimmy, the best friend, because he's got some he's just like life of the party, fun guy kind of thing. I enjoyed that. Least favorite.
They kiss each other a lot though, didn't they?
Who?
They were kissing each other's wives very happily.
Oh, I didn't note that.
Do you notice that? Every time they were around the dinner table just kissing each other.
Oh, maybe
On the
that's
cheek, though. They weren't doing it on the lips, were they?
Yeah, on the cheek. It's all on the cheek, but it just felt
I
like they
don't
were
feel like they were
mwah,
swingers.
yeah.
mwah.
Untold wife swapping
everyone's
story
just
within
kiss-
Fatal Attraction.
Yeah, well,
And then I think I didn't like the kid. I don't know. But
I mean, she annoyed me that she went with her, yeah.
But I have to go back and watch about this drawing on the wall. I think that might change my opinion of this character a little bit. But also I think Dan is a pretty awful person. But it makes for a good story having these
Oh, yeah.
ambiguously horrible people doing horrible things, and then
It's always
Getting
more
punished.
fun to watch a
Yeah.
flawed character than a perfect character.
so much so. Can you imagine if it was they had. She propositions him and he's like, no, I'm happily married. Roll credits. Nobody wants
The
to
end,
watch
yeah,
that
the
movie.
end of the movie.
the movie's climax is they get a rabbit
Yes.
and it lives for a very long age.
Yeah, the whole movie is the lifespan of the rabbit, Dave's favorite character.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
quietly dies in its sleep.
Whitey, the film. Really good.
Okay, favorite scenes.
I had written down the bunny boiling scene because it was really tense, and as soon as they got out the car we were like, oh no, it's going to be the scene. But when you just mentioned about the knife snagging on her white dress in
yeah.
the bathroom, that actually, when I was watching it, I was like, that's a really good touch, because it's so it's like not a flashy kind of like what you expect in like these like horror sort of scenes, but just the like subtleness of it like catching on the material was really like disconcerting, and
Yeah.
it's like it gets more and more frayed, and then you start seeing the blood like seeping through and stuff. So I thought that actual shot more than the scene was a really good touch.
And she's not reacting to like slowly cutting herself too.
Yeah.
Like she's numb. to this. She's
Yeah.
so adrenaline filled at this time.
Yeah, she can't feel anything.
How about you, Dave?
Probably the crazy sex scene at the start because it's so silly.
The elevator?
They're all
Oh,
like,
the sink. The
yeah,
sink scene.
no, when
the
they're on
sink.
the sink, when they're all like, yeah, grab the water, yeah. Because I was like, oh, you totally just like would be out of it then, going like, no, this is stupid, and like,
I love the idea of you watching this too, not knowing where it's going to go, not knowing that it was going to be a,
yeah,
Yeah,
a
exactly.
violent film.
a murder film, yeah.
I think my favorite scene is like I said, sort of the fake out ending, which I think would have been the original climax of the film, which is him coming to her apartment and her brandishing the knife at him, him getting the knife away from her and kind of putting it down and leaving her. And I think that's probably where it would have gone to her framing him for murder because she's now got his prints on the knife.
Fingerprints, yeah.
And so in watching it this time, I was surprised that there was more going on because I thought that was such a climactic interaction between the two of them. On to our final ratings out of limes and lemons.
I'll go. I gave it 2.5 limes. I couldn't remember what I was for a minute. Limes out of 5. I thought it was a decent movie. Not one I would probably watch again, but I think everybody in it was really good. Like the acting was really like top notch sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't like the ending. I feel like the character of Dan should have had more responsibility and be held accountable for his actions.
Dave?
For a love film that you've picked, if I'm judging it by how lovely it's supposed to be and all about romance, it would be a very low score. However, the film itself, I'll give it a good 3. But if it was for the love intentions, I'm giving it no hearts. No hearts.
I mean, the movies that we've picked are all pretty much like a skewed ideal of love. So I think that's why.
Yeah, we're all jaded.
But I think I would say I would argue that none of us, like, if we did pick a conventional love story, the three of us would just be making fun of, of the traditional tropes the whole time. And who wants that? Who wants their favorite romance poo-pooed on by us idiots? By us jaded, horrible people.
Right, Danielle, what's your score?
I'm giving it a 4. I like it. It's held up for me. I enjoy a good old 80s, 90s erotic thriller. And I agree with you. The ending is flawed, and learning that there was a different ending is interesting to me. That's how I'm going with it. So I think with that, close up our discussion on Fatal Attraction today. And thanks for listening.
See you next time. Love, love, love. Bye.
See you next time, guys.
Bye.